Welcome back to the STC. It's me, Warsmith Chris, and that guy, I've forgotten his name, it's been so long. Winters.
Welcome to the STC Reloaded Special Edition.
Trilogy,
Part 7.
Yeah. So as you've probably seen from the explosive thumbnail, the explosive title, this is a special edition STC where it's getting to the point now where all the codexes have come out for 10th, right?
Yeah.
It's been going a while.
There's
all the rumor engines going, the boxes are out there, the things saying that there's going to be orcs and all this kind of. Have you seen all the things floating around?
I've seen there's lots of rumors that it's definitely going to be orcs, definitely, and Eldar Corsairs on the box.
Yeah, Eldar Corsairs
edition. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So 11th edition is definitely coming. So we thought now's the time. Let's take a little look back and let's rate every single one of the 10th edition codexes.
Walk down memory lane. How are we going to rank these, Warsmith Chris?
Oh, I mean, there's the traditional method. There's smash or pass.
I'll do smash or pass then. That sounds good. Rank it, smash or pass. I mean, some people would have fancy graphics.
Yeah.
From 1 to 10, and special smash or pass. That sounds like we should do that.
I checked our budget. It's running a little low for the year, so we've got to keep it affordable. Smash or pass, or we could go for something a little more refined.
What?
We could go for the Winters star system based on the Michelin star system, which is out of 3 stars. 3 is the
5, isn't it? Michelin star.
No, it's 3. It's 3 stars. Michelin stars is 3 stars. You can get a max. All right, you've never been to a restaurant, I know.
No. Mainly from a bucket, I eat.
Yeah, they cast the food on the floor for you to peck at.
In the cage.
If you are a classy person like me, like with my classy attire and my Rolexes and everything, you might go to a 3-star Michelin restaurant, which means that it's the absolute chef's kiss.
Where did you get that in the budget?
That's where the budget went.
Right.
I had to go test out the 3 different types of Michelin star restaurants. Yeah.
Right.
So 3 Michelin stars means it's the top, right? So
3.
if a codex has got like all the flavor, the rules were great, the data sheets were great, everything was good. Like, this is a perfect thing. That's a 3 Winters star rating, right? If it was pretty good, but there's some bits and pieces that could have been better, but it was pretty solid. That's a 2-star. 1 is. It was okay. It was good enough. It got us through the edition, but there's lots of things you could change to make it better. And if it gets no stars, that means it was crapiola. It was garbage.
But 0 isn't even a number. How can
Yeah, but that's a bold statement. You're worth. You are nothing.
We should do the smash or pass. Smash or pass is better.
Smash or pass. All right, cool. But anyway, we have got how many codexes are there?
28.
28, and we're not including. So a few factions didn't get a codex; they just got mugged off.
Factions, including Chaos Demons. There's 28 factions.
There's 28 factions. Chaos Demons. So one of the things I'm going to talk about later when we get to the God Chaos factions is Chaos Demons were kicking about in there instead, but we'll get to that. Yeah, so they don't really count. But yeah, if we're going to do this,
yes,
because we are actually notorious for being extremely on schedule.
Yes.
Like a bullet, we're like a sniper shot.
We've never rambled for half hour before getting to the subject.
No, we're absolutely focused. So this should be a doddle, right? All
28 factions, 2 minutes of faction, an hour. We can do this.
Yeah. My camera's just. You did mention
it's not like you fought with your lighting and the sound for a good 10 minutes beforehand. No. The makeup department didn't do a good job today either.
No,
I'm talking about myself here.
Oh, you look beautiful, mate. Don't worry about it. Yeah,
thanks. I like the beard. It gives me something to hang on to.
Oh, it's great to be back, isn't it? Anyway, right, let's start.
We'll get that reference.
What's the first faction? Come on,
no,
the faction master.
There's another thing I wanted to talk about as well when it comes to this. It's like how many factions have you got? I've got 11.
Oh, on the list. Oh, Jesus, hang on. Right, I've actually written it down. So I have Custodes, Admech, Eldar, Space Marines, multiple Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, Death Guard, Dark Eldar. I don't have Emperor's Children. I need that. Imperial Agents, Leagues of Votan, Necrons.
You've got all of these.
Yeah. Tau and World Eaters.
That's 11 as well. We've basically got the whole thing covered. So this is definitely professional. This is a definitive list. This is the definitive list that the internet needs. Speaking from experience here, experienced gamers, professional gamers.
To be honest, though, neither of us, for anyone who, I don't think there's any Eldar players out there. I didn't notice any Eldar popping up on the old all the grand tournaments and stuff. I didn't see any Eldar players on there, so I don't think anyone bought the Eldar codex. We can probably skip that one.
We can.
But no one, I don't think anyone's interested to hear about it anyway. So let's get, are we going to do it in alphabetical order? Or we're just going to...
We can do it in the list that I got it from
your list
on the internet, which is the Sisters of Battle, Adeptus Sororitas. Is this one of yours?
This is not one of mine, no.
Right.
It's one of the ones that I actually skipped. I didn't read much about it when it released because I still, for the factions I don't have, I was interested and did look at the breakdowns. Goonhammer do a great breakdown of all the different detachments and like that, but I didn't look at Sisters this time around because I just don't encounter them. There's not many Sisters players in my sphere. I think Sultan's the only person I know with Sisters, and he hasn't taken them out for a while, so I just kind of skipped them. But as a content creator for Warhammer, what would you say for the Sisters of Battle?
I have played Sultan recently with his Sisters, and he loves the new codex. He definitely would smash it, not pass it. It's full of girls, so he'd smash it hard. He likes it. He likes the detachments. He likes what they've done with it. They didn't add much more new models and things, but the model range is fantastic. There's a good few detachments in there. He likes it. It's a smash from me.
Does it still run on the Miracle Dice system?
It does.
Okay.
It's got the Miracle Dice thing toned down a little bit because they got too many dice. So they toned it down a bit. But there's ways to get dice, more Miracle Dice. And if you bring the Shrine of St. Catherine, so it's like a saint bones, because there's two saints now. There's the one that gets knocked down, gets back up again, that one. And she's got golden wings and all that. There's one in a box in pieces. That one, when you get a Miracle Dice, you can make it a 6.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So I think there's going to be a reoccurring theme in this one, that apart from the new faction that came in, when they've massively changed those core mechanics that made a faction fun, that's where we're going to see like us leaning towards the 3 or the no Michelin stars, right? Because we had a big change with something like Leagues of Votan. But anyway, we'll get there. I'm rambling already. Sisters of Battle, we're going to give it a smash. I can't give it a Michelin star because it's one of the only few on here that I didn't read about beforehand. So on to the next one.
Again, Adeptus Sororitas to Adeptus Custodes. This one is full of women in it as well, and the internet exploded.
They did not like that at all.
No.
So I'll start with this one. This iteration of Custodes is not my favourite. I still am not sure about the change in Custodes that I think happened in 9th, where they were dramatically changed around so they didn't have mad invulnerable saves anymore. And I think since then they've just really struggled to make them work, right? They've struggled to find how do you balance a super elite army, and the detachments as well. I found them all right. They're a little bit sort of generic, but then they don't have a huge list of data sheets.
No.
But I will say, on the flip side to this codex being a little bit of a letdown for me, is that the new Custodians models, which obviously you can put in 40k from 30k, are absolutely fantastic. And I don't care if they're whammons; the whammons look great in it. And
in this one,
happy to see them.
It is Adeptus. Look, the new models that they added in this one were the Talons of the Emperor.
Talons of the Emperor, yeah.
I don't think they had any new Custodes models in the new Custodes Codex. They put the Sisters of Silence in it.
They put the Sisters of Silence in. Sisters as a detachment doesn't work.
Yeah.
They're just not strong enough.
And then what else doesn't work is at the tournament level, all the Custodes players that I've ever played against with ever, in the previous editions, there were feasible ways to run just units from the codex, like bikers and things, and now in this edition, whenever I've bumped into someone playing Custodes, they're always adding the Forge World ones, which tells me that the codex is missing something. I'll tell you something else as well, Warsmith Chris. You ready for this?
Go for it.
It's one of the armies that I've got.
Okay? Yes, me too.
And I never played it.
No. I have not. So it's one of the easiest armies to
Intent.
paint and get out on the field, and I was quite looking forward to perhaps quickly doing that as a quick project. And when the codex released, I looked at the detachments, I looked at the reviews that were coming in, and it doesn't seem like it's been built for fun at all. This codex, which is not the number one criteria. It's balance and things like that, and power is there, but there wasn't anything fun about it, and I didn't feel like I would enjoy playing them on the tabletop. So.
You play 40k for fun, don't you? Play 40k to win every game and drink the tears of your enemies.
I didn't. Yeah, it depends which faction I'm playing, but yeah.
Custodians
is all about fun.
The minimum criteria for me for a codex is when I get it, I read it, and I want to play it.
Yes.
Oh, I've got that army. I want to.
And you get ideas as well.
You get ideas, and they get you, and then you go and buy a box of this or a box of that. I mean, the minimum criteria for Games Workshop when they sell you a codex is like, oh, I want to buy this box. I want to buy that box. That's a successful codex. It makes you buy stuff. It makes you play the game. It makes you do things that the custodians they didn't do. No. I haven't touched. I've played against them with Sultan, but I haven't. No.
They don't do a great deal. And for example, when the World Eaters Codex, from someone who's not looking from a tournament perspective, because I know that really changes how you view detachments, I struggled to decide which World Eaters detachment I wanted to settle for, because there was 3 of them in particular that I was like, these are so fun. I really want to play these. Dark Eldar, these are so fun. I want to play these. Even like the Black Templar supplement, there's different ones in there that would be cool to try in different situations. But yeah, I just wasn't feeling it. Anyway, that's going to be a pass from me.
Custodes is going to be 0 Winters Michelin stars from me. Not only did it not make me want to play Custodes, it also made some people leave the hobby.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think it was unanimously disliked on the internet. There's probably going to be, if you're a defender of the codex, please come and stop by, tell us what you liked about it and why you liked it, and maybe you found a way to enjoy playing it in this edition. But I certainly have seen Custodes in a more fun. They're not a fun army. To be honest, they're a try-hard army anyway. I can agree that. But yeah,
this is what the internet was invented for: splashing your opinions online. This is exactly what we're doing now. We're going on to army number 3. It's another one that starts with A, the Adeptus Mechanicus. Chris, go.
Okay. Admech. So I have a lot of Admech on sprue because everyone knows I hoard armies until the moment strikes where I feel excited enough to paint them. Admech was another one. I was looking through the data sheets and I just could not see anything in there. I was like, these abilities aren't great. Because 10th edition is great for me. I really love 10th edition, and some people didn't like it, but I love every single data sheet having its own special ability. I didn't find it that hard to track because once I'd got my mind around it, I knew why I was running the units to use that ability. Admech just didn't have that for me. I was looking through it, I was like, a couple of interesting detachments. Some of their detachments are all right, but overall, I think that it's another army that Games Workshop really struggles to find where they fit. They're too cheap sometimes, and you need 10 million of them to make an army. They're a little bit lackluster here and there. They've got some decent units that keep going up and down. I don't know. I would give it. I'd have to pass again on Admech, just because that codex did not make me go, yes, let's play Admech. It made me go, I don't know how to play this army in a way that would be viable and interesting without memorizing too many things, and I don't want to play it.
You say it's too cheap, the points. The points are so cheap that Admech, I forget which video I watched, but they are by far the most expensive Warhammer 40k faction to play. Yeah. Here's the thing about, here's a secret, behind the scenes secret to Winter's SEO, right? I don't actually choose the content that goes up. In all this time, over a decade, it's actually people who come and play me.
Yes, they bring their own.
I don't say bring this, bring that. They want to come and play me. And no one has turned up with an Adeptus Mechanicus army since that codex dropped. I do know one person that has got an Adeptus Mechanicus army, and they're their favourite faction in the lore. Do you know who that is?
Who is that?
Me.
So, well, if we're talking about lore, so that's a different STC video, which we've done before, rating our favourite factions. Admech in the lore are,
Yeah.
are incredible. I love Admech. I love the body horror aspect of Admech. I love the
So grimdark.
part man, part machine. They are an incredible faction. Their infantry look amazing. They've got kind of wacky vehicles, but we're still good. Codex rules wise, they cannot nail it. They cannot seem to get it down. There's something in the rad stuff, in the rad based attachments, but again, it's still just not enough, and you still need to spend literally thousands of pounds to put like 1,000 points on the table. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Thing is with Admech is when they were launched back in the day, it was two codexes.
Two
Codex
codexes.
Katari, Codex Mechanicus. And for a long time, you could do hordes of 20 Rangers, 20 Vanguards, and big squads of Cataphrons and big squads of robots and things like that. And that's what you want. This war crimes department walking forward towards you with and it's gone. Now it's an interlocking... Look, here's the thing about the Admech Codex. There's two codexes on our list that they rewrote from the ground up when they released. It was that bad. And the Adeptus Mechanicus was launched and had a day one patch. And then 3 weeks later, an emergency Munitorum field manual thingy bob patch again. And then since then, it's been patched again. And now it's doing really well in tournaments because it's been patched and patched and patched. The codex is so bad that if little Timmy goes into the shop now and buys it and tries to play it,
there's nothing in there anymore.
There's any resemblance, the actual rules to what is written on the thing. So that doesn't sound like a good codex to me. It didn't make me want to play. It's been rewritten. It's really hyper expensive, and it doesn't feel like it. They're trying to change Admech, or they have changed Admech, into this overlapping layer finesse army. You need this next to this thing, and then that thing tells that thing to do that, and then that thing, and that's not how it started. That's where it is now. It's a finesse army. I'm assuming it's going to be a finesse army in 11th edition, but based on the sample size of the people who come here with armies, I would put money on it being the least successful codex in 10th edition. It's more than, it's not even a smash, it's not even a pass, it's through the floor, dead and buried.
Through the floor.
It's terrible.
Finesse armies are always going to be less popular overall, just because I think a lot of people will pick them, go, oh my God, I can't play these. I made that mistake not knowing what I was getting into back in 5th edition with Drukhari. And they were still great and everything, but I just wasn't ready for how much finesse you'd actually have to bring to the table, exactly measuring and not being able to make mistakes that many other factions can survive. A bit of misplacement here is you can get away with it, but not with those armies. I think they need to find a new niche for Admech if they want to put them in that finesse army category. They've got to find something new. Got to find a real cool, fun core mechanic that makes them playable, and maybe make the data sheets a bit better and charge a bit more in points, because it's just not palatable to start an army that's that cheap. You put hundreds of pounds down and then you realize you don't even have a 500 point force, and that's not even an exaggeration. Their vehicles are like 60 points each and things like that. It's crazy.
Anyway, I think we can all agree
Mech
is pants.
This edition, get out. We love you as a faction. Your codex wasn't that up to scratch this edition. I remember watching your thing about it. You were very sad when it came out. They
didn't like me for that one.
No. that was a good one.
Codex, Craftworld, Eldar. We can move on, can't we?
Yeah, no one plays them. The Fate system came back, but slightly less absolutely balked, with knights doing 6 mortal wounds automatically and all that kind of stuff. To be honest, I haven't done much with this one because no one plays Eldar.
Right.
So we'll just give them no stars and a pass.
Well, I can talk about it actually, because I'm famous for my love for Craftworld Eldar.
Yeah.
And so the Fate dice system that they had at the beginning of the edition with the index was broken, and they had 80% win rates, and it was broken. Someone didn't look at that very closely. So that system was broken, because when the Codex released, it had none of that in it. And it all went to speed, lots of speed, and lots of reactions and speed. And I do know quite a few Eldar players, including Sultan and Dark Angels Chris and a few others, and people who've turned up here with their Eldar, and they like the Eldar Codex. And actually, I like killing Eldar. It's one of my favourite hobbies.
They're quite easy to kill as well.
Yeah. And so I think the aspect host detachment's good. I think their basic detachment's good. I think from an objective, you know me, perfectly objective, not no crit. I think it's a smash. Craftworld Eldar.
Yeah.
I think that one works.
So in reality, I did look through some of the detachments. I have a Bealtan army that is mostly painted, but it's from when I got it to now, it's the points have changed so much that it's not really. I need to add some stuff to it to make it viable. I did. I did get a tingle when I saw how broken the fate system was originally, but actually at the same time, no one wanted to play against that. It was such a good lore idea, though. The fact is that they weave the skeins of fate. They can see what's going on in there. They can read them, not weave them. That's the other guys. Sorry, they can see them. They can see the threads of fate, the strands of fate. I thought it was a cool system, but obviously, yeah, it wasn't thought out very well. Or
some new models as well.
They hope people don't abuse it. I really love the Corsair stuff that's coming out now, kind of the middle ground. It is very Drukhari looking, but I do like it. And Prince Iriel's very cool. Azaman is one of my favourite models. So I'm not against them at all.
They had to rewrite that rule from the codex because he was absolutely broken when he first. But that was a thing. But yeah, new Eldar aspect warrior models. It's nice, and new Vipers and things. I think the Eldar codex in this edition with speed, because that's what they were back in the day. Fleet of foot. Do you remember that?
Yeah. It's fleet of foot and the focus moves and stuff.
But the only army that was faster than were the Drukhari. So the speed army, I like that. That's good. That makes sense. They're nimble little spandex wearing space elves.
Yeah. Well, we're giving them 2 Michelin stars and a smash, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Codex, yeah, there we go. What's next?
Guard. You're in the guard, son.
You're in the guard, son. I really liked some of the detachments for guard, especially when we first saw them, and there was sort of a big hype about the Krieg stuff, right?
Yeah. Lots of new models.
Lots of new models came out. Obviously, the Rogel Dawn tank commander thing is big. Overall, I think the Guard Codex, I've played against it a couple of times. Played against Guard a couple of times this time around, and it seems fun. Like I haven't played it myself yet, but it seems fun. It doesn't. I'm sure there are some broken tournament builds, but I haven't
at the
played
tournament end. Guard looks nothing like Guard.
At
the tournament end, most of these armies look nothing like what they look like in the books. But not at the tournament end. Guard still feel like Guard.
Guard still feel like Guard. You're putting men on the ground. I really liked the detachment with the artillery detachment in terms of flavour. I think that's such a cool, flavourful thing to add in there. I'd you know what, I'd say they matched the flavour. The data sheets are always going to be, they're always a dead point data sheet, aren't they? So a guardsman is your middle ground guy. It's a human being. So in terms of data sheets, they can't really screw them up that much. Tanks are nice and strong.
Tanks.
Hopefully the car park thing that I've seen in previous editions isn't a thing, but it might be in the tournament scene. I don't know. That was the worst thing about Guard for me. But yeah, I think the new stuff with Krieg was nice as well. I think their weapon batteries, the weapon batteries are a bit weird. They aren't as powerful as you'd expect, but it's new. Yeah.
If you look at the whole Guard range, there's quite a lot, because you can have Caligens, you can have Cadians, you can have Krieg, you've got the weapon batteries, you've got these smaller weapon batteries, you've got other artillery, you've got tanks, big tank, you've got really big tanks. Really big tanks are in there.
Very big tanks.
13 tanks are in there.
And in the lore, combined regiments is like all the time in the lore. There's, you can have Valhallans running around with Catachans, you can have Krieg and Cadia. It's all good. So if you play Guard, you can throw in everything you like, and it's all very lore compliant. It's all good.
It made me play Guard. My Guard army is tiny. It's mainly tanks, and it made me play Guard. Yeah, it's a good book. I think that's a pass from me.
It's a pass from me too. I didn't play them this edition, but I did theorycraft a Krieg army and stole a load of Krieg off of you. So
Yes,
we're all
you
good.
did. Yes, that's nice. Theory craft. You can add that to your pile of crack.
It is in my pile of crack. They're there one day. They will come out. I also bought 3 Lehman Russes and
Right.
a Rogaldorn Tank Commander and converted it to a Krieg one. So they're there.
It's basically fentanyl now, isn't it? It's got worse.
It's
The
bad.
addiction.
Yeah.
We're on to Black Templars. This is an army that you do have.
It's
I
an
know
army.
It's the Space Marine Codex supplement, but we're
It
going to
is.
do them all because it does. It's big enough to stand on its own.
Yes.
Black Templars, Warsmith Chris.
So I play mainly Black Templars exclusive units as well, so I didn't need to dip that much into the Space Marines Codex. It has. I like it. I love the Codex. I think it plays really well. It's got the same problem we've had before, where the vows are kind of like there's 2 that you take, or 1 that you take. Sometimes 2 that you take. I'm sure that the other vows can be used in great ways, but there's just some obvious choices. In terms of the datasheet abilities in this codex, I'm a real big fan of how the Crusader squads were changed. I love the "you shoot me, I come at you" thing that other armies have had before. I think Berserkers probably had that first.
There's a
Berserkers
few like that now that can you shoot, move. I mean, Tyranids have it, Berserkers have it. There's a few that have it. Yeah.
The evolution of Sword Brethren from kind of like a semi-elite combat unit to like an absolute dick kicker unit is fantastic. Because when I play Black Templars, I'm gonna wade through. I've got to run at the enemy. I've got to suffer the attrition. But when I get there, I want it to be absolute carnage. They are world eaters of the Imperium. They train together. That's the law. They are the world eaters of the Imperium, and I think they nailed it with this one. The detachments are again all right. There's kind of one that you want to play more than others.
That's the thing about all the codexes. There's 1, maybe 2 that obviously stand out. I mean, that's gonna always be a thing. You can't have a codex with 6 detachments and all 6 being viable. That's not how math works. So it's not how flavor works. Some of them are going to just run better than others.
Sometimes it's not even viability. Sometimes it's that would be fun to use, but it's not really like that. I like some of the stratagem distribution was interesting because there were some strats from other detachments that I thought could be a really cool mechanic to work around, but in the end, if you play just pure Black Templars and you get your vows down and you do the thing they're supposed to do, there's 1 detachment that you want to play, right?
I haven't got Oath of Moment. They're the only Space Marines that don't have Oath of Moment. I think even Space Wars have Oath of Moment. Don't Space Wars have Oath of Moment? Black Templars don't have Oath of Moment.
They probably do. So
what do we think about that not having? I mean, I like the fact. I would have preferred if more Space Marine supplements didn't have Oath of Moment in it. Give them more individual flavour.
No,
I think
I'm
the
with
fact
you.
that Oath of Moment is so strong is one of the reasons why they changed it, and then they changed it again, because when it interacts with some of the supplements, it really interacts with some of the supplements.
Yeah. Vows are fine. Vows work for me, and then you can throw in some extra stuff with your detachment. But I'm quite happy just playing vows. You know what I mean? Like
Vows.
Just make Black Templars vows. Have 1 detachment, vows, and some really good abilities, and off they go.
I played against them. They feel like Black Templars.
They do.
Black Templars.
They beat
it's a smash.
Beat the crap out of your Emperor's children as well. My Emperor's champion absolutely bodied
Scrub the
Lucian. He wasn't very eternal, was he? He just got absolutely
he's the greatest swordsman in the entire galaxy. If the Emperor's champion had dared step anywhere near him, he would have cut him down.
Yeah, I mean, he did cut. The Emperor's champion did, and then cut him down with the sword using precision.
That didn't happen.
Okay, all right, yeah. Anyway, I played a lot of Black Templars. I'm going to give them maybe 2 stars.
2 stars?
Yeah, they played really well.
Play.
Yeah,
you jumped into it.
Okay, it made me play it. I wanted to reserve 3 Michelin stars for this is the best codex. But you know what?
Okay.
You know what? No,
2.5.
It's 2.5 Michelin stars. My camera's gone crazy.
Shall we go into the true World Eaters Codex if you're not a World Eater, which is better than Black Templars?
The true World Eaters Codex?
Blood Angels.
Okay. Yeah, okay, all right.
Blood Angels. better than Black Templars. They do have oath of moment. They do get extra strength and extra attacks on the charge. And we've ran the equation both on camera and off camera. Black Templars versus Blood Angels, and Blood Angels win, and I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, but they don't fight each other.
Angry boys, and Sultan loves them. Sultan would tell you that this is his favorite codex of this edition by a long way.
Yeah, the Blood Angel Codex is really nice. I've played against Sultan. It was a horrible game, but I saw a little bit of their power, just a little smidgen. Being brutal in close combat really benefits. The Codex really benefits that play style. You can put out horrendous damage with certain guys. It just enhances every combat character and combat unit so much. Yeah. His Smash Captain, for example, I've built one for White Scars, and he's still going to be looking over at the Blood Angel Codex, going, "Oh, I wish I could be a Blood Angel." You know what I mean? I think the Codex did really well at representing a furious, more hinged. I think Black Templars supposed to be unhinged. I like the idea that you shoot them, they run towards you, they're screaming, they're madmen, they get in there, it's all chain swords, and then that's cool and everything. But Blood Angels are more, we're going to surgically cut into you with a...
They do. They hit like a brick. Basically, if you build a Blood Angels force and everything runs forward, minus a couple of things to do some objective holding or whatever, then you could win. There's a couple of problems with the Codex, though. Sanguinary Guard took a big change.
Massive
units
change.
Of 10 down to units of 3 or 6, but they got on a wound, but they got an invulnerable save. The Librarian Dreadnought gone. There's a couple of units gone that were in it before. I think the Bow Predator's gone as well, not sure. But they did lose a bit of flavour in this edition. I'm sure they're going to get all those things back, because we've seen so many things come back that were dropped from other codexes and the Space Movement. We've seen other, like Sternguard came back. We've seen things come back that have been dropped before, but there's less Blood Angels in this Blood Angel. So lore-wise, there's less Blood Angels in this Blood Angels Codex than there've ever been in all the Blood Angels codexes. So comparatively to other Blood Angel supplements, this is the least Blood Angel-y one.
Yes.
But it's still a good one for Blood Angels.
In terms of the faction, the Primarisified, they've got the best Primarisified characters, in my opinion, and they're iconic. And I think they've got that sort of star power with the Codex. They've got some really hard hitting, wonderful characters, and it is my biggest criticism is Sanguinary Guard should have been done better
compared to Victress Honor Guard. I mean, they're light and day. Victress, they got 4 wounds. I don't know why they got 4 wounds, and then the Sanguinary Guard got 3 wounds. I don't know.
Sanguinary Guard should be terrifying for your opponent.
There's only about 28 of them in the entire galaxy, Sanguinary Guard.
When they come in, when they drop into the table, you should be like, they're going to fuck me up if I'm not careful.
Yeah.
They're not quite there yet, but we'll see how they go. We saw the Sword Brethren get a lot better, a lot better. Maybe next pass they'll be like, okay, let's make Sanguinary Guard the ultimate tool of the Blood Angels. If you've got 3 or 6 of them, in they come, and they're going to be a force.
They should be angry boys because Daddy is dead, raging at you. I'm hoping the next iterations have more flavour in. So this one I'm going to give, because it can't be a 3. It's not. It's good in some areas, but it's this one is a smash/pass.
Yeah.
It's in the middle. Even it's good, and this one's a complicated one.
Good Codex.
Blood Angel players that I've run against got over the initial and then enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, and I think the problem is I played, Sultan is the main person I see playing Blood Angels, and he knows how to play them. He's played them a lot, so it looks like a solid Codex in his hands, and with the tools that I've seen him utilise. So what we're giving it then? 1.5 mission stars?
1.379.
1.379 mission stars and a smash/pass.
Yeah.
Half smash.
Half pass.
Finish halfway through and then pass, right?
Swedish.
A little bit of smash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next faction, we're way behind. We're way behind. Chaos Demons don't exist. We'll talk about them in other codexes as we go.
There has been no codex.
No codex. They've been binned.
Chaos Demons, so that's definitely a
in
pass.
the trash. They also didn't get they've not got a proper thing in They're not a proper faction in the old world. They hate Chaos Demons. Carry on.
There's a big refresh coming. I think
There's got to
must be a big refresh coming, which is why they're selling all the old Chaos Demons.
Yeah.
In the other things.
Yes.
And I was a sucker and I bought a bunch of them. So we move on to
Me
Chaos
too.
Knights. Another faction that I have.
Don't talk about
another
these.
codex that I got and didn't play.
I'm not talking about Chaos Knights or Imperial Knights. That's totally on you. I object to them being in the game. I don't play against them.
See, here's the thing.
Take it away.
In previous editions, people would ask me, hey, I'm looking at new, I'm in the hobby, and what army should I get to start off with? And I always said to them, get Imperial Knights or Chaos Knights. They're a great starter army. The kits are really good. Because you're new at the game, you're not going to be very good at it, and no one is going to begrudge. Little Timmy starting off, look, I'm new at the hobby. I've brought some Knights. Because most people are like, oh, God, I'm playing against Knights. But when you're playing against someone who's brand new to the game, you could probably roll over them, even though they've brought a bunch of Knights along. But they're going to have some glory moments that you don't need to collect very many. They're very easy to put together. And
No.
They look magnificent. No. And here's the main thing. In the codexes, the rules for Knights used to be, and here's the kicker, used to be really simple.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're not. Now
that is rancid.
What?
Rancid advice. That is such bad advice.
It's the best advice ever.
It is
if
terrible.
You're new to the hobby, get Knights. It was the old advice. It's not the new advice now.
If you're new to the hobby,
because it's not what
play Space Marines. If you're new to the hobby, play Space Marines. They're easy to paint and they're abundant. They are abundant.
To paint. All that edge highlighting. The easiest to paint is Tyranids or Necrons.
You don't edge highlight them. Space Marines. Okay.
Well, when you're new to the hobby, everyone wants to edge highlight because that's what they see on the box art, and that's what they see in the thing. I've got to get my edge highlight, and then they cry because they don't know how to edge highlight, and edge highlighting is complicated. And there's a couple of ways, but we won't get into that.
Yeah,
Necron's really easy to do. All you need is contrast paints and an undercoat.
Yeah,
Tyranids is
they are forgiving too.
So they're easy.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
Knights.
Yeah.
What do the codexes have now?
On. Right, Chaos Space Marines. That's one of yours.
Okay, Chaos Space Marines.
Warsmith Chris.
I am Warsmith Chris. I don't actually hate the Iron Warriors detachment in this one. It's got some really good flavour. It's just not great. It's not like a great detachment, but I love the flavour of it. I love just being extra tough, and I love the stratagem brutal attrition, which is just if you're not familiar with it, you basically just start doing wounds. You go into combat, you just get a load of guys into combat, and then everyone starts fighting, and then you just start literally killing dudes off just for existing in that combat, which is fantastic. But I like the fact that CSM got Oath of Moment Light, so that you can play them in a simple way. I think their data sheets are great. I really like the praying to the dark gods mechanic to pick a thing.
That works, yeah.
I think that's just cool as a thing for Chaos. Some of the Night Lords are always struggle a little bit in knowing what to do with Night Lords, and
that's because the Battle Shock mechanic, they struggled to know what to do with a Battle Shock.
They don't know what to do with Battle Shock, and then they always just can't think of anything but to make him leadership or Battle Shock base.
Yeah.
They do have other dimensions, Night Lords, that you could create a new bloody mechanic for it, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You could, like, if you kill a unit, every unit that can see the unit die, that something happens, or they become pinned or something, that kind of thing. You can come up with something instead of just stupid Battle Shock bloody rules. Although Battle Shock can be clutch for scoring points, but everyone hates it anyway. Like, yeah, it's clutch. Oh, I've taken Battle Shock. You don't score that anymore, and it's like, what a waste. That's not fun. But yeah, overall, data sheets were good. The detachments were mostly good, but the sort of the generic veterans, the Black Legion one, is perfectly fine to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can play that with any of your Chaos Space Marines.
Here's the thing about Chaos Space Marines for me. Like, on the surface, it looks like a smash. There's a wide model range. There's some great characters in there. They're getting some new stuff with Defilers and Warsmiths and things. The Mutilators are coming back. There's all sorts of things in it. But it does feel a bit dry. It doesn't feel as much chaos in the Chaos Space Marine Codex as there used to be chaos in the Chaos Space Marine.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Do you remember last year's?
I will.
Do you remember some of the things they did?
Yeah.
It feels a bit cookie cutter.
I will 100% agree with you, and I think actually they're veterans of the long war. I can't remember what the actual detachment is called now. It's very similar, like something about I think the fact that is Oath of Moment light is a good indication that actually Chaos Space Marines kind of just represent like old Space Marine gameplay, if that makes sense. It's kind of like they're one step below Space Marines now, when they should be a whole thing of their own.
Here's the thing. I have got no problem, so long as they're appropriately pointed. Say everything in the Chaos Space Marine Codex was 20% more expensive on the points. But say everything in the Chaos Space Marine Codex was 20% more powerful, because they're Space Marines have turned to Chaos.
Yes. They should
what's worse than a genetically engineered super soldier charging towards you? A genetically engineered super soldier charged towards you with a demon up him.
Yes.
That's worse. They should have a bit more. Don't mention Space Marine 2. Okay, apparently one Ultramarine can charge through hundreds of cultists and hundreds of thousand suns. Don't mention that. But the Chaos Space Marines should feel like Space Marines on crack. It should feel more terrifying. It should be a slightly lower count army with a bit more power and a few more gods in it, and a few more demons doing demonic things.
So they've got the situation where they've got the 4 god armies for Chaos, which are going to always be more interesting, right? But let me tell you, there's something interesting going on. The range refresh of this edition, we saw a refresh of all the characters again. So we've got Jump Lords back, which, that was sad when they got beaten up. We've got a new Chaos Lord. We've got Mutilators coming, and Defilers coming. We're priming up for a good CSM, generic CSM codex in 11th.
And
with
that's
all these
the
new
thing.
things.
I think the Chaos Space Marine Codex in this edition is a bit of a stopgap.
Mid. It's a mid thing. I don't hate it. I didn't go, oh my god, this is so good. It's so good.
It's not pass, it's mid.
It's mid. I think it counts as a 1 Michelin star, right? Because
it counts as vanilla ice cream.
It's really I think it's playable. It's really playable and it makes sense, but it's not exciting and it's not innovative. It's just a codex that plays. You know what I mean? It's playable. But it doesn't deserve to be. I don't think it's a pass. I think
it's not a pass, it's not a smash, it's a mid.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. I could play my. Unfortunately, I think, did we lose our battle? I brought my Iron Warriors. We played Yeah. We lost the 40k battle where I brought the Iron Warriors and I played the generic detachment instead of. I've played a couple of games with the whatever it's called, the Siege Force. I've forgotten the name of it. I said it a minute ago.
Yes,
with the Iron Warriors detachment, and it was it was fun. It was actually quite fun. But we played a game and we can reveal it now because it's never coming out because it got lost.
Footage got lost in the war.
Yeah, the Death Guard
against the Death Guard rolled over you.
The Death Guard, there wasn't really an answer from Chaos, was there? There was nothing really that had.
And you had triple Vindicators.
Triple Vindicators, which were probably the only real threat on the table. But like basic Plague Marines, for example, just had no issue dealing with anything I had really. It was.
After Chaos Space Marines is Codex Death Guard, so Chaos Space Marines mid. We're on to Death Guard, smash, because they beat you.
Yeah, but also Death Guard have went from a place. They've had a real weird evolution from their sort of big release with 8th. They've gone from incredibly powerful all the way down to like really bad, all the way back up to, oh my God, stop. Yeah. This is disgusting.
They went to the Feel No Pain army.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of the Feel No Pain. And now we're in Contagions territory. This is the new thing for 10th edition.
Yeah.
The Contagions.
Personally,
I like the resilience. I think 5-up Feel No Pain is obnoxious across the board, but a 6-up Feel No Pain for an entire army across the board isn't that obnoxious, and you can point that. But the Contagions works. It feels like Death Guard. But when you get close to them, the Codex is strong. There's lots of viable options. Codex Death Guard made me play my Death Guard a lot.
Yes.
It's a good book. And I didn't buy any of the demons. I didn't buy any of the demons in there. The thing about it, because the demons in the other specialist faction books,
They lend something.
Lend something. So in My Emperor's Children, they really lend something to it. But in the Death Guard book, the demons are just more resilient stuff.
They really don't. So this is one of my criticisms
you
of
don't
it.
need more resilient stuff in the Death Guard Codex, because the Codex is already resilient. Now I'm fine with it being that way with the demons, because that's how it is. But it didn't make me buy any more demons. But it did make me play Death Guard.
Yeah, they could have done some more interesting stuff with the demons. They could have used them as like a spreading mechanic or something. I know everyone's got Contagion Ranger. They could have done something really fun with them. They just seem absolutely pointless. Like when you compare it to like what World Eaters get when they bring demons, which is incredible. It was the same thing. But the thing is, Death Guard didn't need that. Death Guard are a very fleshed out army in the first place. They got their own demon engines, which is weird seeing the demon engines in sort of switch their roles around a bit. The Plague Burst Crawler seems to have gone down a little bit, but the other demon engines seem to be really balling right now as well.
The Plague Burst Crawler isn't as killy as it used to be, and it's still very pointed. But the other demon engines are still reasonably pointed and have got a bit more killy.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. When he says it's a fleshed out codex, actually before this codex dropped, it wasn't that fleshed out. There were gaps in the Death Guard range, and the gap was long-range firepower.
Yeah.
And if you wanted long-range firepower, you needed Plague Burst Crawlers, and there was a couple of other things, and that was it. They were very much a mid-range army. And then the one thing they put in this codex is they put Predators back, and Land Raiders back, and Defilers back. They put in some of the old sculpts, which are definitely being redone, back into the codex. So that is on top of what they did to Death Guard, made everyone tougher. Plague Marines got one toughness, all the Terminators got an extra toughness, and then they got overlapping rules, like a lot of their weapons are lethal, and then they gave them sustained, or there's a bunch of overlapping rules in there. So if you charge with a Lord of Contagion with some Terminators into a thing, you can get Lance, lethal, sustained, and crits going off on. You can do all sorts. You've got all that mid-range, short-range punch, and more of it, and more tougher. And then the weak link that they used to have, the way that you could get around with, which was stay out of stinky range and bombard them from a long way range, they got rid of that as well, because now they've got lots of long-range firepower back in that book. So now all of a sudden, it's a very good book. It's Codex, Death Shroud, but because they're broken.
It's
a strong book.
Let me give you just a slightly alternative look on the rating of this, by the way.
Okay.
Yes, so I agree with everything. It's a strong book. The stuff feels good and strong in it. I love the fact that, I love the fact that Plague Marines are like actually a really useful utility unit. When you kit them out with like melee weapons, they're actually a really like decent melee combat
Put a lot of
combat
Contagion
unit
in there as well. A lot of Contagion, the Malignant Plague Caster, they get nasty.
Boost them all up with that. So, some of the codexes do not allow you to really lean into your infantry, which is quite often like the core thing that you like about the faction. Good. Yeah. However, I would like to point out that Death Guard have had a problem with being irritating for the opponent to play for quite some time now, and I think
they still are.
They are even more obnoxious now.
Yeah.
And what it does is, whilst the codex is fun to play, a codex should also be fun to play against. And I really do think it is lacking there.
Here's the thing, because they were so irritating to play against with their 5-up Feel No Pain, and people hated it. So they got rid of it, and they went Contagions. And now I get requests. See, this is another thing. When people play me, regulars come around and things like that, I often get requested, hey, I'm happy to play against anything you've got, but just don't break the Death Guard out.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot since that codex dropped. And I've not had that before when I started the channel in 7th. I didn't get it in 7th, didn't get it in 8th, didn't get it in 9th, but I'm getting in 10th for Death Guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to give it a smash.
Yeah. We've got to consider that as
It's got to be fun to play against.
Can I tell you now?
It's got to be a pass. It's got to be a pass, not a smash.
I played an 8-hour-long game with a friend of mine. It was Black Templars into Death Guard. This is going back a little bit. It was when the first changes were made, which I think was in ninth. Was it in ninth where they first were experimenting with the idea of a contagion ability that I think it was like massive data slate change near the end of ninth. They changed it so that you could drop your was it your strength of weapon skill and something that dropped your stats as a melee fighter essentially.
Yeah.
And at the time, Death Guard datasheets hadn't been boosted that much, so they weren't as killy as they are now. And I played Black Templars into them, and we just ground to a halt. It was like a complete standstill. And we were just rolling tons of dice, and like one guy would die every now and again. And it was like, they've done something wrong here. But I will admit that playing Death Guard is really fun. It's really fun.
Death Guard is really fun.
It's really fun.
I've talked about this before about feels good rules and feels bad rules.
Yeah.
So there's loads of feels bad rules and gotcha moments and da-da-da-da. And feels bad rules. So what are the good rules? That we can debate that till the gals come home. But feels bad rules, what rules that it suck to play.
Your army gets worse is the feels bad.
Rules that affect your army. So if I've got like the Eldar thing with the devastating wounds and that was, if I've got stuff that buffs me, great. Because then that buffs me. If I've got this thing that makes me move quicker, or this thing that makes me shoot better, or this thing that makes me do this, that's fine. I've got those. But if you've got an army that debuffs you or do something to you, then it also balances weirdly because it's going to debuff Tau down to toughness 2.
Yeah,
things,
it's weird.
And it's going to debuff Custodes as well up the other end. It feels bad. I think the Death Guard is a feels bad codex, except for any Death Guard player who ever plays it.
They'll enjoy it, yeah. So from a subjective standpoint, it's probably like a 2 Michelin star or a 3-star.
Great.
Objectively, as a codex in the game, it's probably a 1-star codex because people will play it, but they're very common, and lots of people don't like it, and I think some of that dislike is also contagious. Okay. I think people hear that they didn't like, that their mates didn't like playing it, and then they're not up for playing it. And then as soon as they feel that first feeling of, oh, hang on, all my stuff is really weak now, that they'll remember that everyone hates playing against Death Guard. It will make it worse.
I like what you did there. Contagious.
Yeah, it is. It has its own contagion range. I'd also like to very quickly
what
put a caveat out there that yes, affecting other people's armies can be annoying, but I think only when it's across the board. I think if you've got a unit that says, right, when I fire my Earthshaker, my Quake cannon at you, then you're debuffed for that turn. It's a 1-to-1 thing, and you can prepare for it, but it's everything Death Guard does that to you. So you can't approach them without suffering that.
That's
the problem
of you to say so. Obviously, it's on a range, and having some things that do something sometimes is good.
It's fine.
But once you there's a tipping point where it's a bit too much, and Death Guard it is all the time. So controversially, for Death Guard Codex, we're saying it's a smash and a pass.
Yes, depending on which side of the table you're on. Yeah,
it's both the greatest Codex in 10th edition and the worst Codex in 10th edition. Okay.
What's
Talking
next?
about factions that didn't get a codex, like Chaos Demons.
Yes.
Deathwatch.
Yes. Oh, Deathwatch
didn't get a codex. They got rolled into Imperial Agents, and I know people who left the hobby because of it.
Yes. Okay, it's disappointing, but stay strong, Deathwatch brothers. They're going to be coming back. They've had their come back. Hey, come back!
Starts Space Marine 2 in Deathwatch.
Deathwatch armor, and then they get a kill team release with a Deathwatch kill team.
Sold so many Deathwatch.
They're coming back, bruv.
Were they not even talking to the people at Saber Interactive about what was in their game? Did they not know?
Games Workshop
this edition with the 2nd edition Space Marine thing. I think we should release a Deathwatch. Nah, let's not worry with that. Nah.
Games Workshop are glacial when it comes down to seizing the moment.
Well,
We'll
they're a
get
super heavy tanker, $1 billion
Yeah.
company forging
just-
its way across the ocean. It takes a very long time to turn around. Okay, so that one's we're on to Dark Eldar.
Drukhari, one of the best conditions I've seen their codex in for a long time. So I had a 5th edition Drukhari army. I had a 6th edition Drukhari army, but I always stayed following their rules to see whether I wanted to play them again. This 10th edition codex, I think, is the one that got me very excited. It has some very, very cool, flavoursome rules and detachments. The power, the fact that every single unit has got a power from pain ability is a lot to remember, but they're cool abilities. The fact that the Raider has like 3, depending on what goes in it, is a lot to remember, but they are a finesse army.
They've always been the finesse army.
They've always been a finesse army, and I think people who like Drukhari must have got a huge kick out of this codex. I think I just really like the themes, right? So you've got your Spectacle of Spite, or whatever it's called. You've got your witch cult thing, which really helps witches be amazing. You've got your Cabal contracts, like you actually play the theme of each subgroup of them. You've got your homunculus covens, which is a bit blah, 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 blah. But then you have the real space raid, where you actually get rewarded for combining them all together, which is great. And then they have this absolute genius mini game detachment, which I am in love with. I absolutely love it. And it is the one where it's what's it called? Something Gamble, Game of Thrones. Basically, you take Harlequins and Drukhari, and whoever's it's a game. Whoever's winning gets a worse buff than the person who's losing the bet. The wager. So it's called something's wager. Reaper's Wager is what it's called. That's it. Reaper's Wager. And I just think it's got great detachments. And I just think that's such a bloody awesome way to play a game, having a competition within your own army on your side of the table on who's ahead. And you can manipulate it with stuff. But anyway, to cut it loose, because we're not doing a Drukhari review video, I think they've really nailed the lore, flavour. I mean, it was the last codex of the edition, right? So they had the most time to think about it, and I think they did a good job.
Last codex of the edition, and it got Lady Malaise. That was the
Lady Malaise, yeah.
So
Malice, or is it Malaise?
No, Malice. Whatever. It's got
it got a lady,
and that's it.
Yeah, she's cool. We don't know much about her, do we? But she's cool.
Again, it feels like this is one they're like, we're not going to bother with Dark Eldar in this edition. We'll put a stopgap in, and then we'll get to and maybe the next edition they're going to get some love, because it's been a long time since we've had some Dark Eldar love. But they did make a good codex out of it.
I have an opinion on that.
Give a good book to the Dark Eldar players, but I don't think they sold very much, and no one's come around here with a Dark Eldar army since they released it.
I'll try and do that one day. Let me tell you something.
11th by then.
Yeah.
So you're saying Smash. You're saying 3 Winter Stars.
I'm saying Smash. Probably 2 Winter Stars, because no. Let's give it 3, because I think it's the best.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Wait. 3 from a general player perspective.
Right.
It would probably be a 2 from a competitive player's perspective, because I think they've lost the data sheets. Actually lost a lot of things as well, like things that were just baked into the data sheet you now have to use a pain token for. I think that's going to disappoint people that are very used to the finesse army. So maybe we should give it a 2, because a thing that's built around knowing how your army works, to have it change so comprehensively ability wise, is probably a bit silly. But I'd just like to point out, I think it's Jez Goodwin. There was one guy who was responsible for the Drukhari designs when they first came out.
Yeah, it was Jez from the ground up.
My God.
Games Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how they could do better. Like the redesign is so spot on aesthetically. If they tried to redo some of these units, I don't know how it would come out. Just rescale the witches slightly.
To redo, just add.
Yeah, add to them.
It's a pretty thin codex on the ground. You just add to it. You know, you got the Tantalus from Forge World. There's some more bigger barges that can come out. There's a bunch more homunculus type monstrosities.
Plus the
that could
Tantalus.
come out.
Actually, that's another thing. We lost the Beastmaster. We lost the Grotesques.
There's a whole new Beastmaster range that they could do.
Yeah.
Like put Grotesques back in, put all of those back in. There's about 10 different kits that they could easily inject into the Drukhari range. That'll just add to it, I think.
Yeah. It's getting a 2 now from me, because actually, thinking about it, dropping Grotesques was rude for people that play Homunculus Covens, because now you have Homunculi and the bloody Talos
Pain engines.
Chronos Pain engines. And that's probably, I bet there's those people that converted a bunch of Grotesques.
Yeah.
That's a bad move. That's a dick move.
You
know what, 1.9, because that's a dick move, Games Workshop.
Yeah. There's a whole Hellraiser thing that they can do with homunculus, with chain engines, with grotesques, and then add more. Add slightly grotesques. Add
Pain seekers that are basically, just Cenobites. Give me Cenobites.
Cenobite, all of that. There's data sheets just waiting there for a whole nightmare realm of stuff. You've got mandrakes. You can have other things coming out of the Midnight Realm.
Yeah.
Mandrakes and this and that vampire type stuff. There's a whole range that they can do with the Dark Eldar, which I'm sure will be coming at some point, probably, maybe.
Okay, 1.9. You lost us. You lost your 2-star thing for just dropping units without thinking about how that would affect the codex performance overall. Because people's armies there's going to be people that have positioned their armies around those things. So, okay. Next faction. Don't want to waste too much time on Drukhari.
Emperor's Children.
Whew. Okay.
I bought this because of gone.
I'll say my very short piece and then it's over to you, right? When I look at Emperor's Children, who I was excited for coming out for the entire reintroduction to 40k from the start of 8th edition, always loved them. Don't fully know why, but have always wanted to see Emperor's Children come out. Models didn't blow me away, but I like them. Codex really didn't blow me away. And this is not just a meme because I've played against beat you and the joke is that the joke is they never lose.
The greatest swordsman in the galaxy.
The data sheets are not well written, and the army gameplay is interesting, but it's also not. It's too punishing. And anyway, I'd give it no stars, but I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, so I haven't been in this hobby for. Okay, look, the fact that we've got all 4 factions now, all 4
amazing
Chaos factions,
and the gods, the Primarchs,
their codex is absolutely awesome. Yes, now. World Eaters Codex, when we got that one in the last edition, it wasn't really a full codex. Okay, now it's kind of a full codex because they put all the things in it that they left out of it.
No
but
demon
exactly
engines.
The same with the Emperor's Children. The Defiler, the Predator, the Land Raider. Well, no, the Land Raider's in there. But there's a bunch of stuff that should be in it that isn't in it, which is coming out with Emperor's Children 2.0, because what they want to make sure, just like with the World Eaters release, they're like, well, we'll sell them all this stuff first to make sure we sell all this stuff first.
Yeah.
And then when we release the next version, then they can have the full codex. So Codex Emperor's Children 0.5, because it's not 0.1 codex yet, it's half a codex, is both the greatest codex of this edition and the worst at the same time. Yeah. Just like Death Guard, but not like Death Guard, because Death Guard is the greatest if you've got it and the worst if you're against it. Emperor's Children is both the greatest and the worst codex in this edition if you've got that army and it only affects you. It's horrible and glorious, and I really, really like it. Listen, there is one list that you can play, okay? There's one list, because the codex is so tiny.
Absolutely load it with demons and stuff.
You die. Yeah. I tried. 11 games in a row with legionaries only, and only one demon prince, not doing the triple demon prince thing, but one. I lost 11 in a row, again and again and again and again, because the internal balance in that codex is so shot, because it's all skewed towards this one list. With it's impossible. It's not a full codex, because where are the Sun Killers? Where Emperor's Children weren't and are not all about getting up and chopping you. They're also about precision and perfection from a very, very long way away. There should be lots of range in that army as well that can shoot the eye of a needle from half a mile away. They should be in there, but they're not there. The only shooty thing that we've got in there are noise marines, and then you really need a Lord Cacophonist to make them work as well. And because they're the only shooty thing in there, you need 3 of them with 3 Lord Cacophonists. There is a Land Raider, but that can shoot us. But literally, if you take the Land Raider out and the noise marines out, you've got pistols, a melter on the infractor. There's no guns, which is like, what the hell? And then the detachments. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
There's a couple that work. Coterie of the Conceited works, and Carnival of Excess works. If you see, this is the other thing about him.
But when you read those attachments, they just seem already like, when I was reading them, I was like, yeah.
Coterie of Conceited works. The one where you kill a thing and then suddenly your whole army rerolls.
Yeah. Works. That's cool.
And the other thing about the book is, because it's half a book, you need demons. And I ended up buying lots of demons as well. And I got about 2,000 points worth of demons ready for the range refresh. That's just going to come to a Games Workshop very soon, because they're clearly refreshing. I don't know anything, by the way, but they're clearly doing something with Chaos Demons.
Yeah, it's obvious, yeah.
But yeah, I ended up with 2 Keeper of Secrets, Shalaxi Hellblade.
But they're good.
And a bunch of Demonettes and all the things. And then you stick the 2 together in the Carnival of Excess detachment, and that works. So I love playing them.
You love playing Codex Demons of Slanesh 0.5 with some new Emperor's Children Space Marines tacked on. Yeah. Cool.
My nipples were erect when the book came out.
Yes, I was very excited.
All 4 factions, and they're just erect right now, thinking about it. Emperor's Children Codex is the best and the worst codex of 10th edition. Lucius is the greatest swordsman in the galaxy. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that book. I love the fact that they can advance, charge, and fall back and charge and dance around all over the place. But there's some restrictions. They're selfish. They can't do. It's glorious. It's a glorious book. And it's definitely 28 Winter's Michelin stars.
Yeah, they suck.
0.
They fucking suck. All right, next codex.
Genestealer Cults.
Oh, yawn. Okay, so Genestealer Cults. It's another faction that Games Workshop just can't decide what they want to do with it.
No.
Are we giving them little blips on the table? Are they going to be super finesse? Are they going to have overlapping fire? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? I don't know what to do.
Do you remember the blips mechanic?
The blips mechanic.
Play against Genestealer Cults and they would deploy nothing at the start of the game.
No idea.
How cool was that?
Yes,
How cool was that?
It was great fun.
That was glorious. And then this is another codex, just like AdMech, which they redesigned from the ground up. You just need to go to the Balanced Data Slate, the Minotaurian Field Manual, by the way, and look through to see which codex was rewritten the most.
Yeah.
And it's this one and AdMech.
Yeah.
Again, if little Timmy goes into the shop and buys Genestealer Cults and tries to play it, it's not like the army it is in the book.
Mummy, can I have £1,000 to buy 200 points of Genestealer Cults, please? Yes, of course, as long as it'll keep you happy. Well, I need another 800 points after that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and I got destroyed by literally an Emperor's Children army. Oh, no. Okay. No, that was made up. That wouldn't happen. But yeah, carry on.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Because Genestealer Cults is just shit.
The Codex didn't do enough to... The thing is, they got such an excellent model range. It's so sad.
Yeah. So much character.
I've never seen that, like, they overpowered some data sheet. Like, I've watched them throughout their evolution, trying to find a point where they would be like a really fun army to play, and they always there's always like a little carrot dangling there, like, oh, that could be fun. But then you look at what you're actually working with, and then they made them like infinitely respawn, and they just don't know what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing.
Oh, why isn't there guard regiments in the Genestealer Cults code?
Yeah, just do it proper.
It's the day of the uprising. The planet is coming up. There should be Rogaldorns and Leman Russes and artillery and things like that. And there might be, just like the demons in the faction codexes, you can't bring more than 1,000 points of that. And of that, why are they not in there? Why just put them in the book? I mean, they've got Dark Eldar data sheets in the Eldar book. They've got demon thing. Just put them straight in the book. Do you realize how many more tanks you would sell?
Or
Or
release a new faction, release a new codex called Codex Renegade or Corrupted Traitor Guard, and in it it's got Gene Stealer Guard, it's got the various Chaos Traitor Guard. You could have little special detachments for each of them, and it'll be a fun thing, but they don't like making money and they don't like fun. So
28 factions. There's 2 factions they need to release. Traitor Guard, Bad Mech.
Bad Mech. Stop making people convert Bad Mech and show me what you've got.
Screw up Bad Mech, just like they screwed up Bad Mech. Moving on from Gene Stealer cults, it's an absolute pass. We're on to Grey Knights. Now, this is another army that made someone I know leave the hobby, because Drago isn't in it, and this is a stopgap. All of them are still
Grey Knights,
tiny Marines.
Yeah. It's a stopgap in general.
Whole range that needs redoing from the ground up, Primarisified, brought into the 41st millennium, and this is just another stopgap codex. However, it made me play Grey Knights. It's just like your Drukhari book.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
It's a good book. I've played against you with playing Grey Knights, and apart from some absolutely garbage rolling, it was they play good. I mean, they've lent into the uppy downy stuff, haven't they? That's the big thing is, we can. I mean, they were always about, what was it called? It's called Gateway.
Gave Infinity and things.
The old psychic power and stuff. It was always a big part of their shtick, but now it's like super baked in. They just got to have a model refresh. Why have we not got Prime? You could do it in 2 kits. Like, why haven't we done it? Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, 12th edition launch. Primarisified Grey Knights with shields and swords, and Stormbolt was on their wrist, and there is a whole range there.
Yeah.
They could sell a lot of miniatures.
It sells so much. Just do a
Codex as it stands, if you're new to the hobby, actually works, and just like Airspace Marines, just like Drukhari, bit of a stopgap. But if you are an OG Grey Knight player, it is as vanilla as it gets.
Yes.
All the weapons, all the Nemesis Force weapons have been rolled into one.
Yeah.
They've lost. See, they were never the uppy downy army.
No, they were the psychics.
That was one of the psychic powers that they could do. Instead, did you hear that?
What was that?
That was my cat.
Was that P90? What?
That was P90 wants to get in the door.
That sounded like someone died.
P90.
I thought someone had just been shot.
The microphone's pissing you up and everything. What do you want? Do you want to do the wardrobe? You want to go with Narnia?
This is staying in. I'm not editing this out.
Right, ignore that. We can edit that out.
I'm not editing that out. That's staying in.
Let me in. If you're an OG Grey Knight player, they were never uppy downy. That was just another thing that they did on top of the thing. They were the like Tyranids, like Eldar, and like Grey Knights. There were 3 psychic phase armies, and all their stuff they did in the psychic phase and Gate of Infinity and teleporting around the place. That was a psychic phase thing. Nemesis Force. Here's the thing about the Grey Knights Codex. They're the demon hunters, and they suck in this edition at killing demons. I've done it on the channel quite a few times. Yeah. They lose every single time. Previously, in other editions, they had re-rolls or bonuses when they went up against demons, and demons only, because they're the Demon Hunter Codex. But in this edition, 1, they suck at killing demons. 2, they've completely changed the way they function. So from a historical point of view, it's an absolute pass. Don't touch them if you're an OG player. If you're a new player, the Codex is a solid piece of work and it's a pass. And if you're thinking about getting this army right now, then it's also a pass, not a smash. So it's a pass, ignore it for OG. It's a smash if you've got them and you don't mind and you're kind of, but it's also a pass if you're looking at getting an army as well, because they're definitely getting an upgrade. I don't know anything, but
they've got
all the ranges.
Yeah, they've got to.
They're still the old minute, so they're all
potty Marines,
changed again. So it's a pass, smash, pass. It's basically, I enjoyed it. It made me play it, but let's face it, Codex Grey Knights, Drago isn't in it.
Doesn't play.
It's like it's dog water.
Doesn't play like Grey Knights, but it does play like a fun army of its own with its own thing. But let's be honest, since removing the psychic phase, which I think that also almost deserves an episode of its own one day.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I like it or hate it, the missing psychic phase, but what it does do is it makes the Thousand Suns and the Grey Knights to a certain extent, the Tyranids side game as well, very lacking in what used to make it so
still have
good.
a psychic phase.
They do, but it's you know
They're
what I
the
mean
ones.
though. You know what I mean though about like the traditional psychic battle of psych having a psychic phase where both armies are there. They have a psychic phase, and you have to prepare yourself and position yourself for psychic attacks. I don't know, but yeah, I remember I've watched Grey Knights go through all their different things when they had like the mini smite and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You can see the evolution of Games Workshop thought in some of these factions, but they just don't seem to be able to like nail it with some of them. Grey Knights is one of the ones where they can't seem to pin down something that they want to keep going with.
There's a lack of care. There's a lack of heart in that codex.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah,
from a lore point of view. So I enjoy playing with them. I've played with them a lot in this edition, and the codex made me play them. But of all the since Codex Grey Knights got released, that's after Witch Seekers when they had their standalone codex. This is the worst Grey Knight codex since they ever released Grey Knights. It is a pass.
Yeah. Okay.
Imperial Agents.
Imperial Agents. Wow, what a codex. Imperial Agents is one of the biggest failures to recognize potential.
Say what you really mean.
So I think if something shows up in Imperial Agents,
Right.
there's a good chance that you know the Games Workshop hates them. So Grey Knights,
yeah,
in Imperial
they're
Agents,
in
Death Watch in
They're
Imperial
in
Agents. You got your RBTs in there. I love that. I love the little
nowhere else to put them.
Yeah, Imperial Agents is a horrible way to charge people money to allow a detachment with assassins to join other armies. That's what it is, right? You're allowed to take, depending on the size of the game, a certain amount of Imperial Agents units, and assassins are in there. That's all it is. It's so unlovingly crafted with all the options they had available. They said, right, let's make it so no possible combination is viable as an army of its own. It's what they said. Let's have a look at it. Let's put units in that so there is massive glaring weaknesses. So this cannot be played as a proper functional army. And there you go. Because I'd love an army whose core troopers were RBTs, and then you could put in a squad of Grey Knights. Imagine the idea is that your Imperial Agents army was traveling across the galaxy, and they had to encounter Xenos and demons and heretics and witches. So they have to have a bit of everything, but then they also can bring enough so that they can engage armor properly. And they just fucked it. And you know what? I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's pass, and it's 0 stars because it pissed me off.
It was so easy to make it better.
Yeah.
They got Sisters Grey Knight's Death Watch in it, right?
Yeah.
All they needed to do was add a couple more Grey Knight data sheets or a couple of more Sister data sheets, and here's the kicker, some guard.
Yeah.
It's the Inquisition. Again, a few more tank. If there was 10 more data sheets in that book, stolen from other codexes, like the data sheets that were in it, there was an Inquisition army in there.
Make an Imperial Soup army that didn't lean too far into the things that used to make Imperial Soup overpowered. So put in some restrictions. Okay, you can take things, but like it's more restricted than the Mother Codex for it, right? So you're allowed.
Of course.
You can take a heavy choice from like the Guard Codex. You can take some tanks, or you can take some, if you wanted them, Predators or something, or you can take this. Give some options, but allow every battlefield role to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Let's just move past it. It was a great idea. It just fucked
It's a great idea, and it's in the future. I hope to see 3 allies codexes. I want to see Imperial Allies, which is Imperial Agents, with the Inquisitors and Sniper, and you can add them to any Imperial army. I want to see Chaos Allies, and I want to see Eldar Allies. That's where Eldar Corsairs, Eldar Exodites.
I mean, they do
Ynnari,
they do that already.
If there were ally books in amongst the range, just like there is Space Marine supplement books, then it would work.
All right.
But launching it as a standalone faction, which doesn't work. It's a pass. Let's move on.
Move on.
to Imperial Knights, which you don't want to talk about
No.
either, and didn't make me want to play them at all when I got them, because they're no longer a starter army, easy click and do that sort of thing, and I am. So we'll move past that. That's a pass as well. We're on to Leagues of Votan.
Leagues of Votan had a big old change, didn't they? So I've got mixed feelings about League of Votan. I think their detachments are spicy. I think there's some good, different, very sort of targeted stuff in here.
New models as well.
They got new models. They got some really great new models.
Yeah.
I really like the Capricus transport. I really like the leather jacket dudes. I really like the Robo dudes and the Memnir strategists, the Steeljacks.
I know some people don't like them, but I like them.
I've got
Scary.
9 of them. I've got 2 hecatons as well.
Nice.
And that's just me because I collect. I'm a collector as well as a gamer. You know what I mean? I like having those models for when I'm poor in the future, and I've still got them. Anyway, the detachments. Okay, so you've got ways to make Chthonian berserks good. You can make them deep strike. They're not like super crazy, any of the detachments, but they all have a really nice, well thought out function. The judgment token thing is gone. I don't mind the new one, the new system, but it is a little bit too thinky for me, because you've kind of got your phases. So you utilize one half of it when you're sort of going in and preparing, then you utilize another half of it when you're fighting. And I don't mind things like that. They do it a lot. They've done it in AOS a lot. They actually did an army that was all based around phases. So you had to stage everything correctly. So there's a bit of staging goes into it. But the detachments where you do command and control nodes from your transports was really cool, like lore heavy, exciting detachment for me, I think. I think overall it's a solid 2-star codex. It's not overpowered. They're another faction that Games Workshop fucked from the start. Sorry for my language, but they did. They made them incredible, then they made them dog shit. And it's like, guys, can we get a grip on this, please?
When they released it, it was like, hey, you guys really want this. Those things that all those other codexes and all those other factions do, we do them all.
Do it all, yeah.
But it's the normal thing that they do. Here's the thing, why did they have to change judgment tokens? Why?
I think,
is it because they don't know what to? Is this another faction that they don't know what to do with?
They don't know what to do with them. They're stuck in the same position as Tau, right? How do we do marker lights? How do we do me picking a? So judgment tokens and marker lights. It's basically Oath of Moment, but with a token, right? Yeah. So it's like they're trying to come up with cool ideas, and they thought, okay, let's add a little bit more strategy to this, and we'll give you 2 components to your thing, depending on what phase you're in, and there's ways to manipulate it as well. And I think that's cool. But some people would probably much prefer just a judgment token, like a simple mechanic. But we'll get on to Tau as well in a minute, because Games Workshop do really seem to be struggling with anything that isn't Space Marines. It's a power armor.
And Leagues of Votan was one of those that when I speak to Votan players, they like. Consultant likes, and people have come here with Votan. They like their book. There's clearly room for more AI constructs and some more weird, wonderful things, because they're still a bit too Space Marine-y. That range could do with even more. That's why I like the Capricorn and the Capricus or the Aries, Scorpius, whatever it is. I like the fact that and the Steeljacks. That's why I like them, because it's a bit more. But they can go a bit. But I don't know if they've found the identity.
Not yet.
Votan yet. So that one's mid.
They haven't found their identity. They are a new faction. They're going to grow. Look at how Gene Sinner cults kind of fleshed out slowly. They're popular. They're good. They're cool guys. Perhaps a little bit more refinement on the army trait as a whole, but the faction trait. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not against it. I think it's solid. I think it's a solid codex.
What about Codex Necrons?
Codex Necrons, another thing that so Games Workshop cannot decide whether they're going to be the most powerful army in the game or dog shit again, and they just cannot decide, and they seem to be one or the other. This codex has got some interesting detachments. I've played against your Necrons with that very overpowered detachment, where you get bonuses attacking people on objectives, and that was actually really, really, really horrible.
That's not in the codex. That is one of their thingy bob Grotma's calendar things.
Yes, and then the next one was the destroyer one, which is
Yes.
actually useless. Like, it's actually
The destroyer one is for destroyers and they want to charge and things, but there's gun destroyers that don't want to charge.
No,
that's useless.
it is useless. I hate that detachment. I've played it once and I am very disappointed in it. They do have some interesting stuff. They've always had some sort of weird detachment choices. I remember going back to early detachments back in 8th or 9th when you had like teleporting Necrons and all kinds of stuff, and
They've still got them.
Yeah, they got some interesting stuff, but I still feel like Necrons as a whole, datasheet wise, they took them from being sort of elite, like really elite in 6th, and then they're a bit more like Space Marines now, and I can't really find. I don't mind the codex, but I think everything needs to have a bit of a reset at some point.
Okay. See, I like it. I mean, people say it's annoying to play against Necrons because they get back up again. But whenever you've played against Necrons, if you entirely kill a unit, they're not getting back up again. And that's always been the way, except for back in 5th and 6th, when with We'll Be Back or I'll Be Back, they used to get back up, even when they've been wiped out, which is incredible. But now at least you can kill a unit entirely. If you are fighting against Necrons and you entirely wipe each unit and entirely wipe that, you turn off their army rule. They don't even get their army rule. So you've got to overkill Necrons, and you always had to overkill Necrons. So I don't have a problem with that.
They have a strong power, but you're given a very simple. I mean, you're part of the game is wiping out enemy units anyway, right? You're given a tool which is play the game, and it will stop them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Shoot the guys, and it will stop them. All it means is that you can't do any little tricksy bits where you try and diminish lots of little units and make everything ineffective. You just have to shoot to kill, and what's the problem?
I like Codex Necrons. It is one of my favorite factions to play in Warhammer 40k 10th edition. I played them all the way through this edition, continue to play with them. I think it's a good codex. I'm still building different lists and different looks, and still very much enjoying playing Codex Necrons because it feels Necron-y, because they do Necron-y things. Yes, they've lost some of again, world-ending technology from a historical point of view, what they could and where they are now, and now we've got the Catans, which have come out with all their new things, and they're utterly broken now. But again, that's an update right at the end of the edition. For us, it's one of my favorite codexes, or if not the favorite codex for me. I know Emperor's Children. After Emperor's Children, it's one of the favorite codexes for this edition and Space Marine that I've played. I like Codex Necrons. For me, it's a pass.
Do you remember in 9th edition?
Yes.
I played quite a lot of Necrons in 9th edition.
You did, yeah.
And I brought my Necrons round with the Deceiver. This is another lost episode, unfortunately. We lost this one.
Too.
I came round with my... Do you remember my Deceiver went around and literally punched through 3 of your units on his own?
Yeah.
And I was just rolling like mad, and he was just going around, but he's going to be gone. You know, he's an old model.
Well, I think they're going to update it. They did the Nightbringer, so we're going to get a new Deceiver.
You better look. I like the look of the Deceiver. I like the fact he's just a big metal guy. Just yeah. Okay. I mean, I will go with whatever your judgment is. It's definitely a pass. It was never not a pass. But how many stars do you reckon?
2.5.
2.5.
Solid book.
Cool.
It's fun. I'd recommend someone getting that. Well, not this late into the edition, but if you happen to be a Necron player, then I think you are quite happy with Codex Necrons. I'm sure there's some people who disagree with me, but it's up there for me.
I would say they are a fantastic starter army for many reasons. First of all, they're always going to be decent. They're always going to be all right. You know what I mean? They're never going to be
easy
awful.
To play.
They're easy to play.
To
they normally have a good trait or two, a good couple of things going on for them. It's usually to do with getting back up again. They usually are all right at shooting. They're not bad. They don't really have much in the way of melee. Even their dedicated melee units are a bit, I think.
Well, they do. I mean, their melee units there's not a lot of melee, but what can melee can melee. Scorpic destroyers are no joke on the charge if they get the charge.
You know what? I've done more with 10 Crusaders than I've ever done with many units of Scorpex. I have loads of Scorpex. I lent into destroyers for all my iterations, all the way back to the 8th edition, where I had loads of. They weren't called Locust destroyers back then; they were just called destroyers, and they were great. They were so good back then; they were great. But I've seen destroyers slightly drop off over time.
It's the Games Workshop thing.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no place for Ophidian destroyers in the codex either. They're just useless.
They are so weird.
There's some useless bits in there, but it's still a good book. I mean, I got 12 Ophidians. I don't think they've been out on the table this edition because there is just no point. But
I've got 12 Scorpex, and I always bring them all out, and they always do nothing that good.
Because they don't have an invulnerable save, so they're very much a counterpunch army. You can't send them straight up.
Just bring 10 Crusaders, mate, and you'll tear through literally tanks.
Codex
with
Orcs.
lethal hits. Orcs. Okay, I think I really like the new style of Orc, right? I really like toughness 5 Orcs. I really like the war potential of Orcs now. They've got some sort of straightforward attachments, and then I personally quite like the Blood Axe, the sneaky, the tactics one. I quite like the idea of tactics Orcs, but I think they're actually in quite a good position, and I think we're definitely about to see a huge refresh of the non beast snagger part
range.
of the Orcs, and I think
the boys and all the bits. I think that's all the rumors for 11th edition.
We've seen that weird war boss whose arm is really out of size with his body, but apart from that, I think it's a safe bet that we're going to see Orcs as a really strong force now.
Okay,
we've fixed some of their problems. The buggy spam problem that we had in 9th when buggies came out, I quite like them now. But that's again, this is non-competitive. I don't know how the changes have really messed with competitive Orc play, if that's the thing. But I do like the idea that a Space Marine, on average, is going to be using a Strength 4 weapon, and an Orc who are always described as being horrendously brutal, scary, tough bastards, are now much harder to wound with basic weapons. You have to go in to kill Orcs now.
Well, I've got Orcs, and I'm going to give the Orc Codex 1 star.
Okay, go for it.
Now, I love playing with Orcs, any edition, and I love playing against Orcs, any edition. And some of my most favourite games of Warhammer 40k are Orc on Orc. Orcs are fun. Any edition, any codex, any time. I like rolling dice, and I like playing with boys. I'll happily play dice and play with boys. I love it.
Do you like my...
However, that's lovely. Look at that Killer Can. It's a good... Not Killer Can, Death Dread.
That's a Death Dread.
Lad. Yeah. However, this is the least orky codex. So the Green Tide detachment, which I loved, got nerfed into the ground. It was a week 1 patch. That's how bad the codex was. Tabletop Tactics did 100 boys versus everything video.
I saw that.
Versus,
a
week 1 patch.
Yeah.
They didn't think that one through. That was broke. Mega Knobs, week 1 patch. Let's not give them a 4-up feel and no pain. Let's give them a 5-up feel and no pain. That was patched. There was a lot patched in it. Buggies are now useless. Yeah. So no one ever brings them. War Bikers are useless. So now no one ever brings them. A Death Killer War Trike War Boss has 4 attacks. What's that all about?
That is penance. No. This is a common Games Workshop theme.
He's a War Boss.
Yeah.
What's that all about? A normal War Boss has 4 attacks and he gets a bit more during the war. But other than that, he's got... What's that all about? That's a War Boss.
Do you remember the War Bosses that could kill a Titan in the last edition?
It's the least orky. I mean, the jump, change, and the shooting in the book. Now, Orc shooting has always been horrible. They mainly shoot clouds. Okay?
Yes.
But if you did get hit by an Orc gun, you'd have snotlings appearing in your left Terminator leg and it would chew your leg off.
Yeah.
And that's a shock attack gun and you were in trouble. If you did get hit by a custom Mega Blaster, it would hurt. It was a Mega Blaster. And that's gone. I mean, the Mega Blasters on the mech guns now, they are strength 12, they are D6 damage, but they hit on Orc, they're -1 AP. So most of the time, most of the stuff that you're shooting at, which is tanks, because that's an anti-tank weaponry, with cover is getting 2 up or 3 up saves anyway. You're not doing anything to them.
You're making some really annoyingly valid points, actually. And
it's just, again, I love playing Orcs, and every time I get to play with, I'm now, if you wanted to play Orcs tomorrow, I'll be up for playing Orcs. But it's the least Orky Orc codex they've ever released.
Look at them.
It's a pass. They look glorious.
Look at them.
The models
They're
are
crazy.
Glorious.
I did all the
incredible.
The checkers and everything. Look.
That's great painting. I love it. Love the boys. Love all the kit bashes that the community do. But I think the codex was broken at the start, and they rewrote some core things. And I think
it's coming, mate. 11th edition will be Rise of the Orcs.
I hope so.
We're going to go back to proper Orcs. None of this beast snagger nonsense. That was a weird change. I am 100% certain, by the way, when I say this, that the combat patrol for Orcs that had the easy build war boss in mega armor, who is now smaller than the new war boss, the Defcopters, the monopose Defcopters, and the monopose Orc boys. I'm telling you, that was going to be that versus the Sisters of Battle army box that came out that was also monopose. That was supposed to be an edition starter, and some things changed around. It just... Yeah, sorry.
I tell you what the worst thing about the Orc Codex is. The internal balance is all over the place. There are some units which are clearly really, really bad. Some units which are clearly okay-ish. And then some units which are the standout units. And if you don't bring them, you're going to lose with Orcs. Because you need your tank busters. You need your Gazgul. There is a build or two in it. And that's it. If you don't take that... And it's such a big book. With so many
loads of units.
Model ranges as well. But there is about 10-15% of the data sheets in there that are really good and stand out by far amongst all the others. And you need them to win with Orcs. And if you don't get them, you're going to lose with Orcs an awful lot. It's a bad book. If you don't take them, you're going to be facing an uphill battle most of the time. So that is a dog water codex, I'm afraid. But I love playing Orc.
Orc players who are those... Oh yeah, Daka, I'm an Orc players.
Where did Daka go?
I know.
Gone? That was glorious.
It was always
and advancing and shooting with Daka, where's that gone? That's gone as well.
If you're one of those Orc players that shouts
"Where's my WoW banner?"
and stuff like that, I'd be interested to know whether the fun factor has kept you going with these changes.
Orcs are fun to play.
Yeah.
They're always fun to play. I mean, they could write... See, it's the Orc player bringing the energy to the day. It's the Orc player saying, well, I'm fighting, I won. I don't care what
the nonchalance.
Orcs fight, Orcs win, I win. And I mean, Orc players, they're a special breed, and we need to protect them at all costs.
We do.
And they're going to play Orcs no matter what. And I'm going to play with Orcs no matter what, because I love playing with boys. On to the Space Marine Codex.
Yes. How many factions have we got left?
We have got 6, including this one.
Right, let's go for it.
Let's rapid fire it. Space Marine Codex is a pass.
This is the biggest one as well.
It's got all the things in it.
Yeah.
Oath of Moment was rewritten and rewritten and rewritten again. But let's face it, if you're playing Space Marines in this edition, again, this is one of my favourite codexes to play. They feel like Space Marines. They act like Space Marines. There's a massive model range. And unlike Orcs, I know there is the list, the Guilliman Calgar lists. Calgar on a bike, Calgar in a dreadnought, Calgar on foot, all the different Calgar models you can get. And there's the Calgar Guilliman Victress. I know there's a couple of lists in there.
Yeah.
But unlike the Orc book, you can play lots of different types of things. The internal balances in there is quite strong. You can go Dreadnought Span, go Vehicle Span, go Infantry Span. It's a solid book, and I've enjoyed playing it throughout this entire edition as well.
Yeah.
Except for most, if not all, of the Firstborn stuff, which is, again, absolute dog water. That's where the internal balance falls off, and you can tell that they don't want to sell any more of that stuff.
Yeah. Their Primaris are here. It's over.
Don't worry about tactical marines anymore.
No, I will say, so I've looked a lot at the Raven Guard and the White
Good one.
Scars.
Yeah, that's good.
Detachments, both of them. I love.
Both are good.
I think the Raven Guard has got, in terms of flavour, has some really good stuff, especially their enhancements. They've got some really cool enhancements that add a lot to the Raven Guard vibe. I like that. And I think that Nathan Shan is like one of my favourite Space Marine releases in ages. I think his model is fantastic.
Good.
And Shrike was okay, but this guy blows them out the water. I think White Scars, I think Suboden Khan is another fantastic release.
Yeah.
And I think
Darnus Lysander looks like a beast again.
He's great.
That new one.
But what that's done for the White Scars detachment, like the proper White Scars one, when you ring Corsaro Khan, they've actually really thought about leading into the things that they like, even though they've taken away, like, this is White Scars, you've got to be White Scars to play it. You now have these things like, yes, your bikes can go through terrain if you take this guy and stuff. I think they've added a bit more flavour back in. Great codex. I think it will always be a playable codex of people. We're no longer in 6th edition, where Space Marines were absolute
5th, 6th, 7th were terrible. See, there would be the edition that came out at the beginning, and then by the end of the edition, they would be terrible.
It'd be awful. Yeah,
but
just
this
unplayable.
one, it came out at the beginning, and at the end of the edition, they're still winning GTs and RSPCAs and FBIs and ITCs. They're still winning all the things. It's a good book.
When Space... Yeah, sorry. I was just, all I was going to say.
The Raven Guard thing is good. White Scars is good. Gladius Strike Force is good.
Gladius
Some
is
of
good.
the Grotmus detachments that they've released are good.
Yeah. Space Marines should be an army that when you play well, you can do really well with them. Yes. When you play poorly, it's not an utter disaster.
Yes.
That should be where Space Marines sit. They should be the army that you recommend to people, because even if they should still have kind of a fun time, even if they suck, right? And that's why I play Space Marines. Carry on.
No, you're right. That's a pass. The Space Marine, it's one of the better, if not best, Space Marine codexes they've released in years.
I'd give it 2 stars. There's a lot to look at in there, and actually there's a lot of units that'll work.
We're smashing.
We're smashing it, yeah. Next.
Space Wolves. Again, another supplement that made some people stop playing, but also brought some new people into the hobby. Sultan bought a whole new Space Wolves army from the ground up, and has now got over 3,000 points worth of Space Wolves, and he loves playing them.
New models are great.
Logan Grimnar model is fantastic. It's a fantastic model.
Whilst they might not be the most complete or comprehensive, the Saga's idea is great. I really like it. I think it's really cool. Gives you a little narrative game to play whilst you're playing with your Space Wolf army. The new models are fantastic. Old guard of the Space Wolves are probably like upset, but things do change. Things do move on.
It's the thing with the Space Wolves in this edition, and the Blood Angels in this edition, and the Grey Knights in this edition, is they've all lost a little bit of flavour. The Space Wolves in this edition are Primaris-ified guys, whereas they used to be Space Wolves. They used to be the army for tattooed people that don't wash, that like listening to thrash metal. That's what they used to be, and now you can be a sensible accountant and play Space Wolves. They've lost a bit.
They've got some cool stuff though.
They've got some cool stuff.
Some of the new models,
not wolfy enough.
No, the guys with the run with the wolf pack, that's wolfy. They need to rethink the Thunderwolf cavalry a little bit.
They used to look different on the tabletop.
Yeah.
They used to look... So Blood Angels used to look different because of the gold with the red with the black.
Yeah, they did.
And they had some bling. But a Space Wolf Space Marine force, even if it took exactly the same units as a Space Marine force, looked different. There was a lot of pelts going on. There were a lot of axes going on.
It's the kits.
There were a lot of tattoos.
Space Wolf kits had like 10 freaking sprues of just stuff. And Blood Angels had their own tactical marines, the Blood Angels Tactical Squad. They had Death Company had loads of bling all over them all over their models and stuff.
Yeah.
We've lost loads of bling in an era where Games Workshop are making their models more detailed. Space Marine specifically lost the detail. So
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's that hard to do. It's again the glacial pace of GW's awareness of selling models.
Yeah.
But
so I think Space Wolves, I don't know. There was no, when Space Wolf codexes came out in the past, people were like, yeah, Space Wolves.
Yeah.
But it's no.
Fun ideas, but it's too new. It's too changed. So I think Space Wolves are going to have to re-establish themselves for a new generation of 40k players who will like them, because the models are damn good. The new models are damn good. One star. Sagas are kind of fun idea.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
4 more to go, Warsmith Chris. Okay. 4 more to go. Can you crawl over the finish line?
We've got this. I think we got this.
Codex Tau.
Okay. Now, Tau, I have built several lists in 10th edition. I played games with Sultan at the start where we were trying to figure out how you play Tau, how you enjoy them. They just got their identity. Games Workshop can't figure them out. They're the same. They've had this problem for a long time. They were incredibly powerful in 7th. And they've gone through so many changes, like the Riptide battlesuits. They've been like T5, then they've been like T8, and then they've been done it. They're a tank, and then they're just an elite. They don't know what to do with any of the units. They don't know how to play them. Now, there's some dog shit detachments in the Tau Codex, the auxiliary stuff. They don't know how to balance the auxiliaries. Crew, new models, fantastic, all that kind of stuff. Don't really know how to. There are some cheeky things you can do with them, but you're looking at basically like the Kauyon and the Montcar detachments, which both have their own style of playing. One, which is nice and flavorful. I'll grant them that. So you have one which is all about fast moving attacks, and one that's all about patience and things like that. And the core thing about Tau is the crisis suits. I think that's always been a core thing about Tau. And in this edition, they've decided that all those people that had kit bashed all their crisis suits to have cyclic ion blasters in previous editions, they're like, you know what? How about everyone just has one of this and one of this, and screw every single Tau player in existence, because we've messed with Tau crisis suit loadout so much that now all your crisis suits are broken. And for that reason, as much as it might be a good move for Tau going forward, that's a massive up, like 2 fingers to Games Workshop, removing, let's be honest, every Tau player worth their salt had loaded out their crisis suits in particular ways.
And Tau play was the long range shooty army.
Yeah.
And they cut their range right down. They've got one phase, the shooting phase. They can't punch. They've got one phase. So when you run against Tau, you should be absolutely terrified of their guns. And the only way to beat Tau in the lore and on the tabletop and whenever, if you've got a faction that shoots and only shoots, the way to beat them is close combat. And if you can't beat them in close combat because you're not a very punchy faction, then you're going to have to try and pick on targets of opportunity and hide and score that way. And that's how you win against them. So they all the things you said, plus the range, plus drones are now just tokens.
Drones are tokens. You know what?
Drones are tokens.
Don't hate it though, because
Markolites.
Okay, so let's. I got too caught up. So now you've got your tagging. You've got your partner system. Don't hate it at all. Don't hate it. Don't love it, but don't hate it. I think the idea is very Tau of, okay, I'm the spotter unit. I've got my Pathfinders up there. They're spotting for these guys. That works. But originally, it was shoot Markolites at people. But that didn't really make much sense either. Games Workshop can't figure out how to do Markolites. They can't figure out what they want to do.
9th edition.
9th edition was
system.
Use CP and drop like 3 marker lights on someone, and that gave you +1 to hit or something because you had to have multiple.
It worked.
I don't know, man. I don't know if they've like maybe it worked as a gameplay mechanic, but it didn't make that much sense. Like once they've been marked by a marker light, why do you have to do it 2 more times? Like what?
Codex Crew, because let's face it, the only new things that came out were the Crew. And they're terrible models as well.
Terrible.
Absolutely terrible. I went up against Jackers Wood's entire crew. Didn't film it. Entire crew army. It wasn't good.
I think crew topses can do mortal wounds on the charge.
They're terrible.
It's good.
Just don't even bother.
Vespids were new as well. Great.
I think we can both agree that Codex Tau 10th edition is the worst Tau codex they have ever released in the history of Tau.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
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 I mean, if you like Tau and enjoy playing Tau, and there's, again, in all these codexes, there's still juice. You can still play with your crisis.
Yeah.
So, like, Codex Orcs is the worst codex that I've ever seen for Orcs, but there's still some juice in it, and I still enjoy playing Orcs. And if you're a Tau player, but let's face it, there's nothing in it that is attracting people who are not Tau players to rush out and get Tau.
No, that's the big thing, because you can utilize the filthy heretic Tau guy, Farsight. You can utilize his. It's not actually his thing anymore, but the Farsight Enclave's always done that thing with like bonus to dropping in next to people and do damage. You can utilize that kind of gameplay now, but it does go against the idea of Tau being like gun lines and things like that. So I don't know. Maybe one day they'll fix them. Fire Warriors need to be good again. You know, Anyway, that was Tau. Tau. It for me, it is. I can't give it a Michelin star in good faith.
0 stars.
0 stars doesn't mean that it's like this is the worst thing ever. It just means that it doesn't qualify as a decent enough codex to play. In my opinion.
Codex Thousand Suns.
Like Emperor's Children, just another trash pointless codex. Thousand Suns got the worst refresh model out of all the refresh models.
They have got a psychic phase, though.
They've got a psychic phase, but they also have that model, which I just was so shocked. I was like, finally,
model.
They're robots. Those fucking what are they called?
What?
They
Vortex beasts.
No, they got those robots that no one talks about.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about? Look it up. They're those stupid robots that are like Egyptian robo-men. They're awful.
Okay. I mean, I like the fact that they've still got a psychic phase in this edition, and for that one, I'm going to give them a smash.
Well, they've had, because in 9th they had their kind of pseudo thing, didn't they? Where they could kind of they could still do psychic attacks. Because they're one of the armies. Okay, Grey Knights suffer a lot, but they're one of the armies that just make absolutely no sense to not have psychic powers, right?
Yeah,
because the only people alive in their army are sorcerers. So I haven't followed Thousand Suns. I haven't played against them, and I haven't played with them in 10th. But I'll take your word for it. If having a psychic phase is enough to earn them a star, that's good. But go look at those robots; they're really bad.
I'll look at the robots. So 1 star, Thousand Suns. We're on to Tyranids. 2 more to go. You can make it to the end line. We're on to Tyranids. Again, another faction that they removed the psychic phase from.
Yes.
So the feel and the look. So let's not compare it to all the other things. I'm going to compare it to 10th edition and where 10th edition is. Because compared to previous Tyranid faction, this feels like a different faction.
Yes.
Tyranids have changed completely in 10th edition to what they were before.
They got a refresh as well.
Tyranids are dead to us. The old psychic phase, dead to us. The old way synapse works and all that, dead to us. Codex Tyranids have been completely redone from the ground up. And what they are is the Monster Mash army. And you get small monsters and then bigger monsters and then bigger monsters with bigger and bigger and bigger hitboxes. It's like playing a video game against stuff with bigger hitboxes.
I don't hate it.
If you're playing with Tyranids or playing against Tyranids, that's what you're doing. And if that's where we are now, I'm not mad about it. Having an army like that in this edition, I'm not mad about it. I have fun playing with Tyranids. I have fun playing against Tyranids based on the 10th edition Tyranids. Monsters with bigger hitboxes, good. But the codex itself is again one of these janky ones where there's some weird imbalanced stuff. There's some clearly really good things and some clearly really good detachments, and there's some clearly really pantsy ones so there's a lot of good in there and there's a lot of bad in there at the same time. It's one of these janky ones that, because of the change, because of what they did and where they are, they haven't really settled on what it is yet.
And then
I'm really looking forward to 11th edition. I think 11th edition Tyranid Codex should be a banger.
Yeah, they were still trying to figure out how their new models were going to work as well, that weren't strictly that much different from the existing units that were already there.
Yeah.
So that was the weirdest thing for me about this release. The Codex was like, okay, we had some really cool stuff for NIDS. We've had the really big, whatever it's what's the thing called, the
Norn
emissary.
Yeah.
We've had that, and then we've also had these like new kind of weird gaunts and
Leapers and Von Royals, band.
Yeah.
See, they're all the good stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to win with the Tyranids in this edition, you're doing all the Leapers, all the Vanguard. See, Vanguard organisms, they're in the lore. They're in the
yeah.
They're in the thing. So it's putting them in the thing and making them their own detachment, flavorful. Like it. So they're the slimy fast ones that come at you from behind. Brilliant. So in this edition on its own, there's good there. The Monster Mash list, not so good in this edition because they're just monsters.
But they are fun.
Big hitboxes, but fun.
Yeah, they are fun.
Not, on the power scale. I mean,
yeah.
The Vanguard stuff is good. Monster Mash, not good. Whereas in the previous editions, Monster Mash were terrifying. It's like running knights, and you're like, oh, and distraction carnifexes are a thing for a reason, because throwing them at you is like, okay, I need to deal with the carnifexes, but they're not good in the power scale things. So there's what I'm saying is the internal balance in the Tyranid Codex is a bit out of whack.
Yeah.
But as a standalone book, I'm having a lot of fun playing Tyranids. I don't know why. I think this is a smash and a pass at the same time.
I think this is
Tyranids, but I also don't like them on their own. If I compare, there's a whole episode we could do of what they've done to Tyranids.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just lock into 10th on this one.
I played Tyranids at a time when the core thing was to always have like respawning termagants. That was like okay, the first thing you buy for your Tyranid army is like the biggest swarm of termagants you can get. And it was like, okay, that's changed. And again, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I have got a second edition Tyranids army which I'm due to make at some point this year for a second edition thing we're doing. And that reminds me of a very different Tyranids again. Before they were the first swarm army. In second edition, there wasn't anything like them. They were the first time you could get a whole, because everything cost like a bajillion points for any old people like me and Winters out there. Everything cost a bajillion points. Armies were a lot smaller, but Tyranids let you all of a sudden have loads of like little gribbly guys, and their monsters were horrifically powerful as well, and still are. They've gone through a lot of things. I played Kronos Tyranids in 8th edition. I played quite a few games with them, a shooting Tyranid army, and was very successful with them using like Hive Guard and Tyrannofexes and shooting termagants and things like that. Completely tricked people. So I'm glad to see them changing as the editions go through, so they're not as one-dimensional, but let's hope that 11th kind of pulls them together into something a bit more coherent with all the new stuff.
Yeah. I think Tyranids are now the starter army. Tyranids are a good one.
Easy to
play.
play.
You want to start, they're quite basic to play now, which is strange talking about Tyranids with all the overlapping things.
No more synapse ranges.
But they're good. They're easy to collect. They're easy to build. They're easy to paint, and they're relatively easy to play. And they're fun. Again, fun.
They're fun.
Playing against Tyranids and playing with Tyranids, like orcs, are fun to play. They're unashamedly bad. So they're just fun. So I'd like playing with Tyranids, but that book is also... So that book for me is a smash and a pass. It's like, I love it. And I also, there's some bits that really suck at the same time.
And I think if Spencer's watching this, because he does comment on a lot of our stuff, Wrath of Constantine, one of the most fun games I've had with my Black Templars was against his shiny Tyranids,
Nice.
like the Emperor's Champion fighting a Tyrant in combat,
There
things
you
like
go.
that. We've had. I love fighting Tyranids, and you know what you're
Yeah.
going to get with them.
Yeah.
Well, you did know what you're going to get with them. Maybe we need to, lock in an identity again. There's a recurring theme of GW not knowing what the identity of their own factions are in this.
There is, isn't there?
Yeah,
There is throughout this. It's like they've got like 5 guys trapped in a room somewhere and they're all interns. And then there's one senior guy with them who's been there for 20 years. And they've got 28 factions to write
yeah,
in 1.5 years
Yeah.
before they move on to, yeah.
right.
World Eaters.
I don't want to ramble on for too long, but this is one of the ones that I want to talk about.
Okay.
We just
This
hit
is the last one. Hang in there, guys. If you've made it to the end of the video, to all the factions, you're one of the real ones.
Yeah,
I thank you for coming this far with us. I don't know how you've managed it. I don't know how we've managed it.
no,
But we've managed it. We're crawling across the finish line together. The secret code word to show that you've got this far in the comment section is radish. If you
radish.
see that you put radish in the comment section, you're one of the real ones.
Yeah.
Radish, hot radish,
You're part of the
hot radish.
the hot radish crew.
The hot. I'm part of the hot radish crew. I dragged my way across the finish line, bleeding and bloody and sore. Take it away, World Eaters, Warsmith Chris.
World Eaters, the faction that every chaos player loves, but also the faction that Games Workshop gave us with one hand and tooketh with the other, right? A bit like Emperor's Children, a little bit like Thousand Sons, but not like Death Guard, Death Guard showed that when Games Workshop get all their friends together and sit down in a room and go, oh, let's make a god-based chaos faction. I wonder, why don't we release like some models with it as well, like some stuff. Okay, so we got new Berserkers. Fantastic. I actually have a soft spot for the old Berserkers. They went, with the new Berserkers as well.
So derpy, the old one.
Yeah, but that's why I love them. So I've actually
look cool.
The new ones look very cool. I love the World Eaters army as a thing. Is the idea of it is great for people that want to play 40k for the carnage, right? You know what you're doing. You know where you're going. There's a few things I need to talk about in the codex that kind of go against that. But anyway,
Okay.
you know what you're doing, you know where you're going, and the idea is you send Berserkers in and you chop people up, and the Berserkers used to have a great rule, and now it's not as good anymore, but they're still all right. So my problems with this codex are the complete annihilation. So we don't have many units, and then to top that off, we had functions for our elite fighting unit. Was split into two flavors, right?
Mm-hmm.
One half we could use as a super elite killer unit. The other half was like let's smash through armor. That's just, to me, that's just been utterly eradicated.
Yeah.
They've lost their weapon profiles. Everything has just gone. No need to do that whatsoever, right? So our elite slot is gone. We don't have a demon engine. We don't have anything in that to fill that slot.
No.
We've got Berserkers, which are a great infantry unit. We've got Jackals.
Good and are still good.
Always good and are still good. We've got Jackals. Okay, so this is one of the factions I think.
Jackals are the best Chaos Cultists.
Jackals are great.
All the Chaos Cultists.
Yeah, they'll bleed all over objectives. They're great. But here's the thing. This is the faction that I think demons work for the best. I love the demons attachment that came with this. I love the idea behind it. I love what it allows you to do. It allows you to take a World Eaters hero unit and bring Blood Crushers, which should already be a World Eaters unit anyway, but with Space Marines on it, but there isn't, but it lets you play that. You can have a Bloodthirster. It suddenly opened up World Eaters, a bit like Emperor's Children, to being an actual bloody army with lots of choices. That said, the transport-based attachments that they came out with have some really cool stuff in it as well.
It's really strong. I've gone up against it a couple of times.
Yeah. It's really strong.
Like a brick. The Rhino Rush Corn Berserker
Yeah.
list. Ooh.
The way that berserkers were always delivered was you drive rhinos,
and they can
berserkers
jump
get
back in
out.
it, and you
it's
shoot
crazy.
the thing. They've got some weird finicky rules to interact with the rhinos. That is
Yeah,
strong.
smash through walls.
Yeah.
Gives us some weird things like the Land Raider being better at shooting because of the
See, I like that because all the guns hit on fours. Like
Yeah.
the Forge Fiend hit on fours, the Land Raider hits on fours, but they're all rapid fire.
they're all rapid fire. Yeah, so you
So
rapid
they're
fire.
all keeping their finger on the trigger. So they're
Yeah.
all shorter range, all rapid fire, all hitting on fours. But 8-shot Land Raiders
Yeah.
in 24-inch range hitting on four. I like that little bit of flavor. So they're taking some flavor, but they put it in there. Like World Eaters are keeping their finger on the trigger all the time.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, it is very cool, but mechanically it then gives them a better shooting. I guess not. Okay, so fours to hit. Okay, fine.
At range, 2 of them are going to hit.
So here's my thing. This codex
Yes.
better all the way round than the first iteration.
Not hard.
But
The first iteration was half a codex.
they're still working with not enough units. I don't think a kill team release of some other cultist, another flavor of cultist was what was needed.
Yeah.
I think they need.
Demon engines.
I think Forge Fiends and Mauler Fiends are great, but they should be the CSM unit.
Yeah.
These guys, everybody needs their own units. We need Death Guard have got their bloat drones, they've got their Myphitic Blight Holders, they've got it's fantastic. It gives them their own full flavor, their full methods. Everybody needs that. Why don't we have that? The codexes are having to change the abilities on them depending on what army they're in. That's weird. I don't like it.
I think Codex World Eaters, they shouldn't get funny with it. Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because it's World Eaters.
Don't get funny with it.
When you're playing against World Eaters, or when you're playing with World Eaters, and when you want to collect World Eaters, you know what you get on the tin. If there is an army that goes forward screaming, this is the army that goes forward screaming. In this edition, next edition, previous, they don't get funny with it. Just do that. And then you're absolutely right. Add some Blood Slaughterer or a couple of Demon Engines in there, or one Demon Engine that splits into 2 kits. So you buy 6 of them because you have 3 of this and 3 of this, and just one of them. And then maybe that's coming. Then there'll be proper. That's all you need in Codex World. Going forward.
Yeah, give them a Demon Engine with a flesh mower on the front, which is a rhino with a flesh mower on the front. The berserkers jump into it. You drive it into people. People jump out. The people get sprayed everywhere. They get a bonus if they killed someone on him. You know what I mean? Let's do some things.
They're one of the only factions that have catchphrases. They don't just have one catchphrase.
Yeah.
They have multiple catchphrases, like "Corn cares not" and "Blood for the Blood God."
Bird, maim, kill.
All bird, maim, kill. Yeah, that people love them.
They're the orcs.
You're right. Some machine with flesh mowers on blood.
Yeah.
More blood. Some kind of demonic engine. So, but that's for the future. As the codex stands in itself, I've had fun playing against it.
They did good.
And the few World Eaters players that I know that play it and had fun, they're just pleased that there's a bit more this time round. And as an Emperor's Children player, I'm looking forward to that for Emperor's Children next time, getting a little bit more next time as well.
You can take your collection of World Eaters and you can play a Berserker's heavy list with rhinos and all that kind of stuff with a detachment that really, really boosts that. Or you can really go into a new type of list. You can have a Bloodthirster running around. You can have you can still be World Eaters, but you can play a completely new style that actually works. And your Blood Tithe, great stuff.
But it still goes forward. It
still does
World Eaters things
in a new way.
So they've added. It's a smash. It's a smash.
It's a smash. It's a 2-star for me. 2 Winter's Michelin stars. There's room for improvement, and there's room for most of these codexes. Overall, 10th edition, one of my favorite editions ever. Very, very good edition. Love it. Codexes were all right. There's still a lot of work to do. Come on, guys. You've been going for like 500 years now. Some of us were children when we started playing this, and we're now grey, old. Figure out how to balance a faction. Figure out how to give a faction identity. It's been long enough. Let's go.
One of the things we highlighted with this review is there's a few factions out there that it feels like Games Workshop doesn't know what to do with.
Quite a few.
And I'm looking forward to them figuring out what to do with.
Yes.
And there's some of these factions have been changed for changed sake. Also,
Yes.
it feels like. And then some of the factions feel a bit stopgappy. I feel like 10th edition core, good. Some of the codex is good. But there's some obvious misses here. There's some. It feels like we're in transition from a thing to another thing.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes.
The transition edition.
Yeah. Anyway, we've been going for way over 2 hours.
Wow.
This is an absolute bumper special edition of STC.
Special edition.
I'm hungry. I want to go eat my jacket potato that I put in the oven, knowing that this would be a long episode. So the longer it's in there, the better it is. Low and slow. Best way to cook.
Nice.
Thank you so much for joining us on the
Hot
STC.
radish, remember.
Hot radish. Tell us what your opinion. Tell us why we're all wrong. Be aggressive in the comments. Go in there and just absolutely steamroll over everything we've said and claim that you are in fact the expert on. No, don't do that. I'm joking.
It's what the internet was invented for.
Yeah.
We do hope you enjoyed this episode
yes.
of STC Special Edition. Happy Wargaming.
Happy Wargaming, everyone. Love you. Thanks. Bye. You'll wave and I've got to find the stop button. Keep waving. Because I fade this bit out. But I can never find the stop button.
That's good. I'm saying goodbye.
Where's the stop button?